some Overwatch.
All right, now this is a very important sub to note here where I had heard rumors that this might be happening. I'm not quite sure why, but Gray is not in for GGEA, and that's actually a rather big hit to them because Ponzer didn't really get a whole lot of play last season, and Gray has been a very good flex support for them. So already Legion might be working a bit of advantages. They are coming out with the Brigitte and a composition that has an element of dive, but also an element that's willing to fight ground and pound if necessary.
Yeah, Soldier 76 has been a pick that we don't really see as often here, but take a look with the flanking route coming out from Legion. They are splitting up the team. It's Smurf that gets jumped on first. He goes down. Keller answers back onto Rolf, but the Legion are not stopping.
And that's just real easy stuff coming in from the Legion, where uncharacteristic of Smurf to go down that quickly. And again, GGA seeming a little bit of disarray as things start out here early, as this should be a very quick take by the Legion.
Yeah, the Lucio pick coming out from the Legion really did catch off GGEA. You know, teams are used to just running out with the Mercies and then getting there at the same time, but with the speed boost coming out, all of a sudden you're on their flank, and now they jump on in. Smurf will get the D-Mech onto Gods.
Instant revenge there for Smurf. Saw that Gods was a little bit far out, immediately pounced in. Now GGA has the slight advantage of not having to deal with the D.Va Mech. God's gonna be trying to get that back in on the outskirts as the Legion try and come in off this left side. They pick off Keller immediately, and this is fine for the Legion where you have an even back and forth. They can get back on the point, even if it doesn't go their way, which frankly it is, because A just got picked off mid-res. They should be able to hold.
Yeah, Fisher possibly with the Tracer can have some heroics come out, but instead he backs away. He was so close to that pulse bomb. Just one more clip, he could have built it in, thrown it into the team, but still, they're just gonna play this measured. Will GGEA. Fisher goes all the way back to spawn to swap off onto the Brigitte. They need a little bit more control for the team.
And so far, it's been a very quiet day for the GGEA DPS here so far. Sharp, of course, also not in the lineup. In the Legion right now, just powering through. Keller getting caught off guard, almost picked off by Corey on the left side. And with Fisher falling, oh, it's time to play in traffic. Zenyatta, can you float out enough? Panker's just playing with his food right now. And he's gonna force out the Transcends, which is an even better element than getting the car run over, though.
Yeah, Ponzer, despite being like the Frogger god there, wasn't enough because, well, he can't dodge the self-destruct, so he will go down. And the Legion, we were, Mica asked us before this map started, should we expect anything different? We said no, but take a look. This is not a composition that you're used to seeing. A Brigitte with a Soldier 76 and no mercy in favor of a Lucio. This is definitely strange indeed.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also a very different GGA right now. We're not only missing Sharp, but missing Gray. Keller picked off immediately. It just feels like so far they've been in disarray where the Legion have been getting better engages. But this is working a little bit better. Legion got a little bit ahead of themselves there, ends up with 2 picked off. Panker gonna have to retreat, but now the Legion are down 3, and even though normally you'd want to delay a long time here, you're at 99%. It's totally fine to let it flip.
Fisher, with one last swing, is able to take out Gods there, so Legion will go ahead and reset. They used a lot into that last fight, so now Pooks, Lucio, he's got to rebuild up that, of course, the sound barrier for his team, which could be huge coming in. It's GGEA who need the perfect ultimate rotations here. If Keller can pick off 2 with his Dragon Strike, this would be huge in trying to slow down the Legion.
I mean, the one upside for GGA as well is that they can delay longer because it is City Center, but you're not running a Tracer, so they don't have that many options to delay for as long as you would normally expect. For now, they're holding on the point, and Keller almost getting picked off early again, just barely saved in the nick of time. Legion going in heavily, engaging with all they have. Panker going in deep, has the Primal Rage at the ready, waiting to the last second to use the Primal Rage. Meanwhile, Corey, he's gotten the high ground, and we know how that worked out for Anakin. Comes out here with the Tac Visor, but GGA is weathering the storm, but not for long. Gods blows them up on the other side. 4-0 in favor of the Legion, and GGA is going to get thoroughly pushed off the point as Smurf goes, yeah, gotta run.
Surprisingly, right now, Fisher's not swapping off. He's staying on the Brigitte. He wants to try and make it back into the point. Overtime's ticking away. We'll see if anyone can even touch it. It doesn't look like it. No, Legion will walk away with the first point. The really unorthodox team composition.
It's just weird watching in the state because this team was basically defined by Sharp last season for sure, Smurf on the tanking end, and to a degree, certainly Gray getting pickoffs on Zenyatta, and it wasn't quite as good of an opening for Ponzer where he had to use a Transcend in a rough situation that I don't think he needed to use at that point. But now we get into a mode that can test your projectile DPS a little bit more here in the Gardens. If you even decide to run one, GGA, are they going to run the Brigida here? That's the question.
I think they kind of have to, and already we're seeing them make some adjustments as Aid himself is going over to that Lucio. They're expecting that same kind of composition coming out from Legion, so they're going to answer it.
Well, they went for Lucio just for the very quick speed boost, then Aid went back over to the Mercy, so they're not full committing. Nice flank coming out there as Ponzer almost ends up taking it immediately. Meanwhile, Legion going in, and they caught Aid. It was Blase on the other side, gets Aid before he can get out of danger. Now there's no Mercy left in the fight, where Legion is running Mercy of their own, but they're running the Lucio, and Lucio's essentially free at this point. Fisher way out of position here, just desperately trying to live. Meanwhile, Legion going to be taking this first point.
This is surprising. I was really surprised that GGA decided to go back to that Lucio, because even though you can have that quick burst of speed out, eventually you are not gonna be able to make it to the point as quickly as Legion do. And instead of Legion like trying to get to the point first and establish their offense from there, they just go ahead. Ooh, great lurking play coming out from the Legion there as they pick off 3. Now GGE are going to try and retreat, but they at least get the DMAC from Gods.
GGA just got completely bamboozled there. It was just like, surely there's not a Legion of Gladiators over here. It's like, yeah, actually, there is. The Legion now 32% to 0, and this is getting rough for GGA.
And they're swapping off, and so Keller's now going over to the Zarya, Smurf is going over to the Reinhardt, and Ponzer, along with Aid, going over for that 3-3 composition, the GOATS comp now.
When in doubt, GOATS it out, I guess is the motto for GGA here, but it's a very different look. Fisher isolated again. And Corey's just gonna be like, yeah, time to attack Visor, moves on in, mows through the back line. Rolf and Pooks getting in on the action, and this is not close at all right now. This is a very different GGA, but a seemingly revitalized Legion.
The scariest proposition for GGA is that swapping off onto this GOATS composition, they need to hit that critical mass, but I don't know if they're going to be able to. Keller's only at 30% towards his ult, and take a look, another trap being set up by the Legion.
I mean, your Legion, you're playing with the house money right now. Go for as many tricky plays as you want. The worst that can happen is GGA takes the point with 83% against them. Meanwhile, Panker under assault, gets the Primal Rage off the time before he can be stunned down. He's looking for the knockoffs to the side, not gonna get it. Now we go to his favorite game, which is playing in the corner. Also doesn't quite get it as full, blows up both Gods' mech and Blase, and actually the Legion caught more off guard there. GGA getting what might be their first good engage of the map.
But this is still the same proposition, same position that GGEA were left on City Center, where they finally win a team fight, but the Legion now, they have basically the rest of this map just to come up with the right formula to finish this off.
The other problem is, too, is that I'm not really convinced Fisher is comfortable on the Brigida right now. He's gotten picked off so many times in an early fashion that, you know, he's more known for projectile DPS. We'll see how it goes in this fight as Legion go in, and this time he catches Pooks early on. And now with Pooks out of the fight, Legion have to decide how deep do we want to go. Well, Corey's having a good time here in the Pharah, where haven't seen as much Pharah from the past now. Going in, landing good damage. But is it going to be enough to take the point, as both teams right now 4-on-4? We'll have to see.
And there's no one really to try and deal with Corey in the skies now. The sound barrier will be popped by GGEA as they're trying desperately to hold on to this Graviton Surge. Connects Corey. Might get taken out. Here comes the self-destruct, but everyone is able to dodge it.
Yeah, the fall through is a little bit late, and a little bit late can make all the difference in the world. Now, in the aftermath, Rolf got caught off by Keller. Keller ends up taking 2, and Legion, time to go for a swim. It's a full reset. GGA now 2 team fights away from pulling this one back, so definitely looking a little bit better after a very rough start.
But after having used that Graviton Surge, that was like one of the big team fight win conditions. They don't have that anymore coming into this next fight. They're going to have to rely upon both Fisher and Ponzer, but those aren't the ultimates you really want coming into this.
Well, they also have to dodge the tire. That's going to be public enemy #1, where it might be all greenery, but that is rubber almost meeting the road. So much damage on the GGA. No one died outright, and Corey here at the fall through. A barrage from the top dealt with by the tanks, but Vol gives up his mech for it. GGA, though, has sealed up the rest. They have 5 people up at full strength and a diva out of the mech. Still somehow everyone alive, and Panker thought it was done. He was so deep as a result that he ends up getting picked off. And this is more even than the Legion would like for how this started. And with the barrier coming in, GGA actually can pull this one back. Self-destruct hits nothing from Gods for the Legion, but they flip the point. That's in overtime right now. GGA going back in, and they're at 99%. It's now actually the Legion that is in a rough spot. Another tower coming out from Blase. This one could be a big one. On the other side, dodging the Zarya, and this time it's way off course, but gets Keller in the end, and the Legion actually pulled this one back. Yeah,
he writes course, and with that, they are going to be able to clean this up, even though they were pushed to the limits. We're Gladiator Legion, as GGEA were able to take this to 99%. Overtime ticks away that much quicker, and so they will walk away with the first map win in this series.
So it seems like that weird composition was something that helped out the Gladiators Legion, huh?
The weird comp definitely worked out there, and look, they're just flexing the idea that, hey, we can run Brigida more, teams aren't always going to deal with it, and by the way, Corey's a good 76, as it turns out.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are just like, oh yeah, there's no way they don't run a Mercy, but instead they go for the Lucio, and along with the sprint coming out for the Soldier 76, he gets into position so incredibly quickly. We saw there on Garden where he was almost able to take out one of them just by getting that flank so quickly.
Yeah, and I would say, too, looking at this is a weird thing to fully judge because it definitely felt like GGA was not in their comfort zone where, again, they are missing 2 key cogs in their wheel where Gray's not in today for whatever reason that might be, Sharp's not in, and that does mess with how teams work with it, but Legion, they're operating at high levels, and this was just a beautiful executed comp here where Corey was having the time of his life on Soldier and all the room that was afforded to him.
The angles that he was playing also when we were on City Center there was so awkward because he was aggressively pushed up. He was at either entrance coming out from the enemy spawn, and he was just darting around. He finally got punished once when he got chased down by the Winston along with the Zenyatta that came in, but for the most part, he was just posted up in their spawn and just surviving throughout all of that.
By the way, in case you thought we didn't see enough Corey, here's more Corey. Yeah, this, like I said, it's a boy band type of night. But Corey, again, making the most out of room provided to him from his tanks, and the initiations we saw out of Legion all map long were just better than GGA's on the whole.
I mean, it was just the tempo, really. Like, it felt like you had mentioned, of course, you have 2 of your main cogs gone. Gray's not there, and he is a very vocal Zenyatta, and he's also a crucial member in, like, their kind of DPS lineup, because he is one of those flex supports that I would rank up there with, like, Hagopun and others who contribute fairly often to team fights.
Well, yeah, if Nambani was in the pool, one of the things that they ran a lot last season was that they'd be like, yeah, we're going to put Gray on the 76. Let's go, 1 support. But speaking of weirdness, it's an Eichenwald.
Yes, this is our next map coming up. And do you think this is going to, once again, be the Corey show? Or do you think that GGEA will have some advantages on this map with the heroes that they tend to run?
I think there's no reason to think that won't be the Corey show right now, where Corey so far has played better than Keller has through the first game and now the little bit of the second. So, I mean, it's kind of Keller to prove that, hey, by the way, I can match Corey.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Soldier 76 here again, but, you know, the strength of Widowmaker right now in this patch more than likely is going to be his go-to, but if he goes to 76, I wouldn't be surprised, even McCree.
So, predictions for this map, you guys... Legion, or
I gotta go with Legion.
Yeah.
seeing the roster lineups, that's the biggest question, right? Coming into this, because we didn't see Sharp all of last week. We're not seeing him right now. Why not? If you're not running him, they are definitely at a disadvantage.
Right. Well, yep. Legion is up 1-0, and let's see if they will continue their winning streak.
All right, now we move in. It's going to be the Legion on the defense first, and Corey gets to go to an old friend of sorts, where this time it's going to be Blase on the Pharah, Corey on the Widow, which is something a little bit more expected out of the Legion at this point.
It gets so difficult to try and attack a defensive Pharah on this map solely because of that clock tower right there. They can really abuse the fact that they can play Ring Around the Rosie and no Widowmakers can get decent sightlines up against them. So I like that they're running this defensive Pharah right now for GGEA. It looks like they might want to run a triple tank composition with the Ponzer on the Roadhog. And, you know, the Roadhog does work extremely well with the Orisa, like we got to see in our first series of the night.
Well, the thing is that this makes a lot of sense if you have Gray in the roster, which might have been the game plan, but putting Ponzer on this, I don't know if Ponzer is that same level of DPS talent that Gray is, so we'll see if it works out. I mean, Ponzer is more of an unknown.
Yeah, no, this is just about raw damage here. They've got Keller, just peeks the corner, gets a headshot, along with Fisher on the Hanzo here. So they've got the double sniper. They have a lot of raw damage on their team.
And Keller, he's going to be looking at the skies to begin with, wants to get rid of the fire. But no, gets Rolf, says, season, yeah, not looking at me. Might as well go for that. Corey has his quick revenge. Rolf is brought back into the fight, so it's not a long advantage right now for GGEA, and in fact the Legion now making quick work of them on the front side. GGEA unable to make the most of that early opportunity provided to them by Keller.
Now, even though Aid brings Keller back into this with their losses, they do have to lick their wounds and try and reapproach this. They've lost a minute now, and crucially, that means Legion in that last fight, Gods was able to just open up with that Zarya. He's at 75% towards that Graviton. 80 now taking out Smurf.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure that happened. Usually Smurf is a little bit further back, but he gets caught out, and the Legion just buy themselves even more time. And in this case, time and a resurrect. So that's not even going to be available in this fight. Is Blase looping around the right side? Rolf probably will get res back up, but Blase is ready to go at this barrage.
Top. Basically at the skybox here, he's ready to drop down. He sees the barrier gone, but there are 3 tanks that can get in his way, so he's biding his time. There it is, Graviton Surge with the damage boost. There comes the barrage, but it's Corey that's just stealing all of these kills from Blase.
You've hit the right word there, which is kill steal, because Blase did plenty of damage there. Corey was just there to mop it all up, so have no fear. That barrage definitely did good work. 2 minutes burned off the clock, and the Legion are looking strong.
Basically, that's how I play Widow. I'm just opportunistic, right? I wait for everyone else to do damage, and I go for the body shot. There you go. But Corey, you know, it's not just body shots. His headshots have been connecting, and he's really been able to just keep Keller at bay, even though Keller comes in and gets the early kills onto Rolf. You can't kill Rolf right now because he's transcended, though. But he's got to run back.
So aggressive. Yeah. I'm not on board with this, Legion. I understand you've been playing well, but going that far in just caused Blase the Diets now put your Mercy in a rough spot. Pooks is able to get away with it, but that was weird, and it's given GG an opportunity. Smurf almost falls. Oh,
Smurf almost falls along with that Roadhog. Corey takes the skies, and he takes 2 shots from Keller, who takes him out. They don't have a res for this anymore. The Dragon Strike does come out, but it does not connect as they try to push forward.
No one's looking at Blase right now. It needs to be Keller that's looking at him. Blase trying to find space for rockets. They pick off Fisher on the left side, but Rolf ends up dying for it. So GGA, they've rotated onto a point. They have 2 ticks here so far. The Legion pretty bloodied at this point, and Blase, he's gonna go for it. Goes to the skies, barrage, taken on down before he can pull the trigger. And that's gonna be GGA taking the point, but it did take quite a bit of time.
Looked like he missed his concussive blast there. He was expecting to be right on top of the team. Instead, he kind of just got like nudged forward a little bit with that Pharah. Now he can stick onto this because Gods is really close to another Graviton Strike. He's at 69%. And so with the way he's been playing, with the support that he's been getting from the rest of his team, he's been able to play in that front line. We'll see if he can maintain that. What I'm surprised about is GGEA sticking with this solo support composition.
Yeah, you would think that GJ would swap on now, but Blase gonna drop in the barrage once more. Not sure if that was really worthwhile. GGA getting the better of the trades. They should be able to keep the payload moving forward. And Legion now looking a bit more disheveled as Panker is gonna say, yep, I'm out of here. Not out in time.
With the self-destruct, oh, that is huge. That's going to allow GGEA to continue with this push now. They're on the hunt for Pooks, but he's able to make it back to spawn. And so, GGEA, they still don't need to change up this composition quite yet. I should be able to res Fisher back into this, no problem whatsoever. Because Ponzer right now, he's got the whole hog, and that's going to be great moving on to the bridge portion here.
Oh, Corey's coming out the flank on Widow. A dangerous spot to let Corey get. Almost gets Keller, but unable to finish it. Meanwhile, we got Graviton at Legion trying to finish this off with some take ultimates. The fall through, not there immediately. Rolf, though, continues to fight. Transcends in to let the Legion continue diving, but Corey wasn't looking at Keller on the opposite end. Keller, though, going to be drawing the attention of Panker. Not the greatest position for Widow to be in as Panker is going to chase him down.
Yeah, that is just some great discipline, right? He could be trying to like machine gun him down, but instead he just takes the shot over to that Zenyatta.
Oh,
Panker makes it just in time. He's got the primal rage and he's gonna bat everyone away. Now the halt is not gonna be able to use to keep him in place for long. Never mind.
Oh.
They will burn him down and GGEA move on to the 3rd phase.
Hey, in the end, it worked out really well where Panker was away from the fight for so long that I think he didn't realize that GGA was actually winning towards the other end. He got back there in time, but not enough to actually delay.
They're going to continue forward now, still without a secondary support. Ponzer is still on that Roadhog. And you know what? He got a Graviton out from that last fight, a solo Graviton onto him, and he survived it. All he had to use was his whole hog. And so, with him staying alive, with him baiting ults, he's getting so much value. Now here's a Blade.
Well, Say just goes in, he knows there's no Transcendence because there's no Zen, dives on in, picks off 2 before falling in turn. It's not enough to derail this payload pressure from GGEA that's been very tank heavy, but also working here as Fisher grabs another 2.
Ponzer, one way or another, is going to shut down that Blade, and so GGEA still chugging along now with this triple tank setup as they move forward. They need to get out to the point. Dude, Legion, it's going to be Pinker there with the Reinhardt, but his shield is so vulnerable now.
Reinhardt is also not Pinker's happy place as a general rule, ends up falling immediately, probably wish he was still in Winston. Meanwhile, Corey builds up the Dragon Strike, lets it fly, breathing room getting obtained here for the Legion, and already you see the cleanup coming in play, and it's going to be up to GGA to reset, but what a push coming in from them through second.
There was almost no defense coming out except for that small little portion where Pinker was able to jump onto the point with the Primal Rage and just delay. Now finally putting an end to this offense. GGEA, they like what they've seen. They like what they were able to accomplish with this composition, so they're not going to change off. Keller, somehow, it looks like he might have accidentally jumped off the map.
I'm not sure. I mean, it's possible unless we see him swap. But yeah, that was entirely a self-prone error that just cost GGEA about 20 seconds.
Yeah, that is huge, especially now that the fact that GGEA are down to 1 minute and 10 seconds left, and the payload is being pushed back, is rolling back a very considerable distance. Here comes the Riptire from Keller, though.
And for him, he's just looking for one. It's a good, it zones him off from the defensive Graviton of Gods. That tire could have been more well-timed for the Academy and less well-timed for the Legion. Keller ends up falling, but aid is there to bring him back up. The Legion now down people, which means they'll be back, but they're gonna have rougher positioning here for this final fight.
Corey, though, with that Dragon Strike, might be able to split up the team. Did he connect on anyone? He will with the Storm Arrows, taking out the Ponzer. Now they're gonna charge forward.
And Blase, the tire got 2 in the back. The tire wasn't avid here just yet. Legion moving back the other way, and that's going to be a hold. GGA down to 25 seconds. The upside is they lost so decisively there that they are going to have time for one final push, but the Legion, they're pushing up high.
The Pones are finally swapping off now, going over to that Zenyatta. They need a little bit more damage. They need more vulnerability on Gladiators Legion here, so we do have them pushing forward, but I don't know if anyone can touch it. 6 seconds left now. They're trying their best to speed on forward, but the Lucio's gone.
Ponzer couldn't get there in time. Is anyone gonna touch the payload? And no, they're not. The Legion make the calculated gamble that yes, we can hold up high, we can stop you from touching again, and they do just that.
It was odd that they decided to go with Orisa when they all needed to run back to the point. I mean, you generally see a lot of teams go with the Reinhardt, try and charge and cut the distance a little bit more. But yeah, moving forward with a very stationary Orisa just did not work out for them. Surprising, though, that this composition that they're currently hovering over with Ponzer on the Roadhog just did so much for them throughout the offensive phase, but it just ran out of gas towards the latter end of Eichenwald.
I mean, in fairness, it definitely wasn't the winning ticket they thought it would be on point A. Like, I'd say the Legion had a very good defense on point A for a moment, but then you would think that normally you'd get off the hog and go to something more standard for point B, but the Legion just got discombobulated. One bad engage led to another, and I mean, one thing about the GGA composition is that it's very tanky, so once you start losing people, it becomes progressively harder to remove them from the point, and Legion ended up giving a lot more ground on point B than I think they were prepared to do.
Yeah, you really do need that Zenyatta in a lot of these compositions. I mean, he just cuts the TTK considerably, especially up against the tank line. I mean, Pinker could have been punished a lot more. Speaking of the Gladiators Legion tank line trolling us a bit, quite possibly. Gods on a Sombra and Pinker on the Diva. Don't know if we'll live to see that day.
I mean, I would like to live in the world where that's going to be a possibility. Gods, of course.
Gods back to DPS?
Yeah, I mean, he's had multiple changes in his career. All we need is, you know, sort of Twilight Gods. It's now playing on support to round everything up and have him on all 3 roles at one point. But I don't think
the darkest timeline. It's 2018. Anything can happen, really. But now, Legion, are they going to stick with this? They do have Corey and Blase on the Widowmaker and Pharah, respectively. And
what?
They're actually going with this.
Oh.
Okay, the Legion.
No, he didn't leave spawn. He's going to Reinhardt. I respect holding on to that for like, oh, Corey had a great opportunity and let it go.
I really thought they were going to go for it. I mean, it was a day for anything at this point, right? Especially with the composition that they were running on Oasis. But instead, a little bit more standard as they go for the Ryan Zarya here. They just want to be able to walk up onto the point, create space for Blase and Corey. But Blase is already in the back line, conks himself into the safe zone of this clock tower, getting out of line of sight of Keller.
GGA deciding that the best defense is one that's going to be held a little bit further back. They don't contest the archway early on. The Legion, oh, Corey falls. Keller catches the better of him as he's trying to go up that staircase. So now Keller has way more room to work with, and more importantly, a lot more room to go after Blase here, where Panker's out of the fight, and I think the Legion wisely should head on back, even as Blase is being a little bit greedy for that little extra bit of ult charge.
I'm surprised Pooks didn't try to go for the res there. It was inside the computer store. Oh, God. Gets tagged. Gets dropped. And Legion are going to be thwarted for now. 2 minutes and 50 seconds still left on the clock, but I mean, in that minute, Gods was able to do considerable amount of damage. He's at 64%. Without getting any eliminations, that's actually a lot of ultimate charge. Ooh, cheeky angle coming up from Keller here.
Keller's just like, I'm a junk pile. You can't actually tell where I'm at right now. I've become one with this random part. And he gets the headshot on the Gods.
Bush
Gods
camper.
feeling way less safe. And you got Corey right after too. Two nice shots coming in from Keller. And Keller, this is something we said we need to see from GGA. And right now, he's playing much better than we've seen in the past.
Panker has been getting punished left and right. Gods, he will have the Graviton Surge for the next fight. We'll see if Blase can connect with him with that Rocket Barrage, but man, with the way that Keller has just been starting off these fights, it's such a difficult ask of them. I mean, Pooks has to be absolutely careful here with that Mercy too, because he's going to be crucial to that combination.
Well, here's the tough part for the GGA setup. They only have one support ult, so it's going to be Valkyrie against Transcendence and Valkyrie here. It's going to be the Transcend from Rolf starting it out here in the beginning. Buying time for Gods to look for a good Graviton, but GGA, they're really spread out right now. They're not giving Gods a great opportunity. Maybe he lets it fly him up, but Gods is down! Doesn't get a chance at Graviton, and both support ults have been used by the Legion. This is actually a disaster for them as Blase works his way back. Gods was the one person that needed to not die there.
They used both of their support ultimates in that last fight, the Transcendence along with the Valkyrie, netting them absolutely nothing. But again, they do have the tools. They have the Barrage, they have the Graviton Surge, but GGEA, they've been playing this almost expertly here, splitting up very well to make sure that there's no huge combination coming out. Oh! Fisher connects with two, taking out Blase and Panker with his own barrage. He didn't need to set up from a Graviton Surge there.
Not in the least. Panker ends up falling to that quick strike. And we're down to the final minute for the Legion, who have run into a brick wall in the GGA defense where they're looking far better than they did a map ago.
And that was a 3-minute setup for Gods to get that Graviton Surge off. He's had it for a minute now, but was able to do absolutely nothing with it. The only thing they can rely upon now is Panker with the Earth Shatter, so they're going to try and make this work. They're making some swap-offs. Pooks going over to Lucio, Rolf going over to that Moira. Just a lot of heals.
This is support Panker. Let him drop the hammer. Drops the hammer and in, but does not hit nearly as many as he thought he would get in that moment. It's all hands on deck for Legion as they deeply dive into GGA territory, but they end up getting two anyways. It was on a just very small margin, but Rolf with the Moira kept everyone healed up. And now it's GGA trying to fight their way back. Only 3 members left alive, and this is not a good position to be as defense. Vol's gonna get taken down, and this defense will have to go to second for GGEA.
I mean, if I'm going to continually bash my head up against the wall, I'd much rather do it with the tanks, which is what they did here. So Legion, they understand, you know, this is our last hurrah. This is our just our Hail Mary play. And so they just go with the GOATS composition where they just run into the comp. Imagine if they had done this 3 minutes earlier.
Might have worked out a little bit better, but I also think this is something that teams don't like pulling out all that often because teams have figured out how to work around it, but pulling it out on a win
work not to run the GOATS composition at this point.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, GOATS didn't make it in the Contenders, so there might be some idea that teams did learn how to work against it, but using it as a changeup, absolutely okay. Fisher, though, looking to drop the weather here, drops a barrage and gets Gods right in his face. Only Gods can stop the weather, so they say, as Fisher gets immediately blown up.
Now the rally will be used by Blase, giving his team the extra armor, making them extra tanky. This is where, as a Brigitte, you're finally like considered an off-tank. You get that extra 100 armor there. And if only she could, you know, give herself more armor the way she does everyone else. I don't understand why she can't, but maybe in the future.
Yeah, it is interesting where her balance has been, but taking a look at this next fight, the Legion are actually primed to get a lot of momentum here. They're going to have a Graviton up in a moment and an Earth Shatter, and GGA, they need to pick up from Keller, but Keller's already almost out.
You gotta be careful though. Fisher here with this Pharah. Earthshatter comes out, it only connects onto the tank. Will he be able to finish him off? Graviton Surge connects onto Aid. God is able to melt him down, and now they push forward. They're gonna be able to take the second checkpoint.
And they're buying themselves so much time because they got through second quickly. Neither team in this map has been able to play defense on second. It's been a free ride. And now with 2 minutes and 20 seconds left, the Legion have a real chance of finishing this off and beating GGA here in Eichenwald.
God's getting some good poke off too with this high charge Zarya. He's already at 40% now after having just used that Graviton Surge. So it's not out of the question. In the next 2 minutes, he'll get another one.
All right, the Legion riding on through right now. Moira in the back is Rolf, about to get his Coalescence up in a moment. GGA gonna have to work with the Dragon here, where Keller's not gonna have setup. He's just gonna have to find the right moment to just drop that Dragon on end.
Gods. Just keeps needling in these right clicks. He's already got the Graviton.
He's got Grav, and he's got to drop it. Drops the Grav immediately. Keller's going to drop the Dragon right the other way to try and buy time. The Transcend comes in from GGA, but it's not in time to save Vol, so they're working at the man disadvantage. They're starting to get melted down. Smurf is out of there. Gods, no one's shutting off his microwave. Moving on forward, picks off another two, and the Legion are well on their way to defeating GGA and storming the castle. Panker drops a hammer, but it might have been a little bit early. Aid out of it. 1.76 m left. A counter hammer in from Smurf. And GGA not out of it yet, but they are down members here. They're fighting against the stream, and that's an emergency Doom Fist in from Keller.
Keller, though, gets hammered down as Panker swings on him, and with that, the Legion will finish this off. They are now in a 2-0 lead up against GGEA.
Oof.
That was so close, though. We almost saw a tied game there.
Yeah, it was very close towards the end, and it felt like GGA is sort of getting used, I guess, to the idea that they're missing members that they've played with quite a bit, where it feels like the Gray situation might have been a last-second swap, where Ponzer was playing pretty well in Roadhog. It wasn't a, here's Roadhog cooking and destroying everyone, but it was clearly respectable given how they almost held on first.
Yeah, and we also got to see Keller really coming alive on their defense, especially with that Widowmaker. He was just had that cheeky angle through the Omnic, looking down into that choke point, and he was able to connect with the shots over and again. And I mean, it was crucial, just slowly dwindled down the time that the Legion had to attack point A.
Yeah, and this is something that GGA is going to need from Keller, especially as Sharp right now is not playing with the team, where, again, I don't know if he's still out of the country or just other reasons, but Keller originally, before his projectile stint last season, was a hit scan specialist, so the fact that he could come in here, really take Corey the task at points, it's an uplifting sign for GGA.
So what was so crucial in that last push to see that game incredibly won? Because it was close to not happening.
God's just playing out of his mind, where he builds another Grav really quickly, was keeping 100% energy for way too long, and really it just felt like GGA wasn't focusing him, and he got multiple Gravs, was essentially the heart of their damage, and was just fearlessly pushing on through.
Yeah, the only way he died was through the Riptire. You know, they had to use an ultimate to take him out, and it's that how crucial he was to the squad. But the thing is, one of the biggest strengths of that GOATS composition when you go for the 3-3 is that, well, your main tanks, of course, or all three of your tanks are on the front line, so even if you come in with a Miracle Shatter and it connects onto multiple people, it's difficult to finish them off because you have a Moira along with the Brigitte heals, along with the Lucio amped up heals. And so even though you connect with a great Shatter, which might have been game winning if it was any other composition, it just falls flat in the face of all that healing and all the tanks.
Well, we are going to throw it to a quick break, and when we come back, we will see some more awesome Overwatch and see if Gladiators Legion will continue to power through.